Alright guys, my wife requested that I create this video after blowing Jiu-Jitsu's mind last night trying to explain all the stuff that goes into buying your new mech. So we're going to start out and we're just going to walk you through it because there's so many things to consider. I can't write it down on paper and it would take me forever to explain it in person. First thing you're going to want to do is go to the Mech Lab. In the Mech Lab, if you select Owned Mechs, it shows all the mechs that you currently own down here at the bottom, just like in War Thunder. You see this right here, it says Buy Mech. So if you click on Buy Mech, it should open up a window. That brings up all the different mechs that you can buy. This right here, the star, is for premium chassis. This is like World of Tanks, where you've got the Type 59, the low, all those tanks that you have to pay gold for. None of the other tanks in here do you have to pay gold for. However, you do have the option of paying gold on some of these. If you look down here, you can buy this one for 2,100 gold or 5 million. Now, the first things you're going to want to do when you consider buying your first mech is you're going to need to think about what do you want out of a mech. The important things to look for are your hard points. Do you want to be a ballistic boat, an energy boat, or a missile boat? Ballistic weapons are projectile weapons. These are bullets, cannon rounds, Gauss rounds, anything like a projectile. Energy is obviously anything that uses energy as its primary focus. It would be a PPC or a laser or a flamethrower. Next comes your missiles. This is any projectile that's got a rocket motor to it. So these are the kind of things you want to look at. It depends on what you want out of a mech. The ballistic has some nice bonuses and advantages, but it also has disadvantages. The ballistic is very ammo dependent, which means that you can run out of ammo in a match if you don't put enough in your mech. The benefit to this type of ammo, though, is it does a massive amount of damage at virtually all ranges. The Gauss round does a lot of damage all the way out as far as you can see. At the same time, the AC-20 does the most damage in the game up close, but only to about 400 meters. The energy. I'm back, server cut out. The energy weapons are good all-around weapons. They have good range damage with the PPCs, but they also have a very big shortcoming, which is that they have to use your heat. Now, every mech has a heat efficiency. The higher the energy output, the higher that heat's going to go. The higher your heat efficiency needs to be in order to cool your mech down and keep it from overheating. The bonus again, though, is that you don't need ammo, so you'll never run out. Missiles is pretty much the same as ballistic. The only difference with the missiles is they have the only non-line of sight weapons, which are your long-range missiles. The problem with the long-range missiles is while they can do 20 damage with an LRM-20, it's not focus damage, which means you have to hit with every single missile within that group of 20 in order to do the full 20 damage. They don't generally have the longer ranges as particle or ballistic-based weapons. The missiles that you would most normally install on a mech would be shorter range. They're only good to 280 meters. Anything further than that, they self-detonate and they do no damage. Another important thing you need to look at when looking for your mech is the weight class you want to be in. Do you want to be in an assault class? These are the largest mechs in the game. They're the heaviest, but they also have a downside. They're also the slowest. The next ones down are the heavy mechs, then the medium mechs, and then you've all seen the light mechs. I personally, for my first build, would not recommend an assault class mech just because it's got such a large learning curve and you're also the biggest target and you're too slow to get away from the bullets. The heavy mechs are good. They have good firepower, they have excellent armor, and they're much more mobile than the heavy mechs. As you can see, this is a heavy mech here and it does 81 kilometers an hour with a stock engine in it. Now granted, the Fang is a hero mech, but still it doesn't change with any of the others down below here. They're all still relatively speedy mechs. Now, the thing to consider once you've figured out what weight class you want to go is how you're going to be using this weapon. Now, the first mech I bought was the Cataphract. It was the Cataphract 2X. Got a glaring weakness in this that I didn't know about when I first bought the mech, is if you can see here, all my guns are at waist level, which means if I ever want to shoot up over a hill, everything here is exposed to enemy fire. And as you can see, this is a massive target. That's not really good to have in a mech. So I would recommend for your first mechs would be either something like a Jaeger mech, because you can see here, if he wants to shoot over a hill, he only has to expose that much smaller target. Or a catapult. Again, right at the very top of his mech, he can shoot right over a hill and not have to worry about it. These are very popular mechs, and apparently for good reason. The Jaeger mech is generally a ballistic boat, so if you are into the ballistic weapons and you want to choose ballistic as your primary focus, I would go for the Jaeger mech. Whereas the catapult tends to be an energy and missile based. You can see down here where it's got 4 energy slots, and then this one here has got four missile slots. It's good mechs, but it depends on your playstyle which one you decide to go with. For this, we're just going to stick with the Cataphract, because that's the one I've got. When choosing the mech, one of the least important things to worry about is this stuff over here. The first thing you're going to do when you buy a new mech is all of this stuff that it comes pre-installed with, the large laser, the AC5s, are going to be removed. You're not going to use the stock build. It's like buying a stock Ford. You just wouldn't want to do it. You want to buy an upgraded version. So what you're going to do is you'll buy this mech, and for this case I'm not going to buy it because I already own it. And then what you're going to want to do is actually build it, and I'll show you how to do that. And it's an extremely difficult process. It's quite fun, but you could spend hours trying to optimize your mech. Before building your mech in the game, it's extremely important that you come to this website here, and I'll make sure and link this to you. In this, you can virtually create your mech. It's much easier than trying to do it in the game, and you don't have to worry about spending money. The first thing you want to do when you come here is to select the mech that you have chosen to buy. So for me, I bought the Cataphract, which is a heavy. Come down to my Cataphract, and I'll find the model that I bought, which is the 4X. That brings up all the stats for this 4X mech. Now, it'll start out as completely stock. There's absolutely nothing on this mech. If I chose, I could go to the stock armor and stock loadout. And this is how it comes when you buy it. We don't want this. It's crap. It doesn't work. First thing you're going to do here in this is you're going to strip the mech completely. The next consideration is, what kind of mech is this going to be? Well, mine's going to be a ballistic mech, and I already know what kind of ballistics I'm going to put on this thing. So I'm going to look where I can actually put a ballistic weapon. If you see here where it says 2B, that means that you can put 2 ballistic weapons in this arm. You can put 2 ballistic weapons in this arm, but you can't put ballistic anywhere else. You can put 1 missile in the head and 2 energy weapons in the center torso. Now, in order to start building your mech, what you're going to want to do is you're going to come over here. I'm going to start with my ballistic weapons. I always start with my heavy firepower first before going to anything, and then the ammo, and then everything else I'll fill in as the weight allows. So I'm going to start with ballistic weapons. Well, I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say I want to try the autocannon 5. I'm going to just drag and drop it to where I want it. Well, I can obviously fit 1 more in there because I've got spot for it, so well, let's put that there. So now I've got 2 AC5s in this. I'm going to do the same over here. Let's try that again because my push to talk is also my back button. So 2 AC5s in here. So now I've got a total of 4 AC5s. Now if you look up here, my tonnage starts to climb up and my slots start to go down. Any mech has a set number of slots and a set number of tons with which you can build things. You need to juggle the build out, and the ideal build would have 0 free tonnage left over and 0 free slots left over. If you have tonnage that is not being used, you need to reconsider your build, maybe put a bigger engine in or something else. Alright, I've got my AC5s in. The next thing I'm going to want to do is put my ammo load in, because you never want to be short on ammo. So next I'll come over here. The second button over here is your ammo. I find my AC5 ammo. Always put your ammo in the least vulnerable part of the mech. For me, it's always the legs, because the legs are rarely attacked, and you never want to have it near your engine, because if the ammo explodes, and it can explode, it will take out your engine and it will kill your mech. So right now I've got 120 rounds of AC5 ammo. That's not quite a lot, so I'm going to put one more in here. Now there is an exception to putting ammo down with your engine, and that's when it's in the core right here. This is where your engine will go on the mech. And the reasoning behind that is if this ammo goes, your core's already gone, your mech's already dead. Now I've got enough ammo to survive a match. 150 to 180 should be about enough to uh, last a match as long as I'm not wasting rounds. Next thing I want to do is put in my secondary missile weapon systems, which would be my 2 energy slots and my 1 missile slot. Well, I know this is taking up quite a lot of weight with those things right there, because I can see my available weight is dropping through the floor. The engine weighs a ton, so you have to make sure that you're saving plenty of room for it. Now, what I do is I come up here, and next weapon system I'm going to put is I'm going to want to put 2 medium lasers in this. I'm going to put those right down here in the bottom. You can see the 2 energy slots available. I've got my medium lasers here. I could put a large laser here because it takes up 2 slots. From experience, I know I only have 2 slots beyond my engine to put weapons down here. But I prefer having the 2 medium lasers. Next, I'm going to come up here and I think I'm going to put in a missile system. Now, one of the vulnerabilities with having a ballistic type mech is that light mechs can have a good time killing you. So I'm going to put in a Streak SRM-2 missile in the head. The Streaks have a guidance system on them. When you fire them, they will hit as long as the target does not go out of range and it isn't behind cover. Next for me would be an anti-missile system. This is your umbrella. When those LRMs are raining on your head, this is the only thing that's going to shield you apart from an ECM. So those fall under utilities, anti-missile system, and it must go where it allows the anti-missile system. With the anti-missile system, you need to add some ammo to it. Generally 1,000 rounds is plenty. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this ammo down here. It's not very hazardous, it doesn't blow up very often, and it's going to go in the arm, and I've got to put it somewhere. So now I've got my mech pretty much built out with the damage. You can see that I've got a firepower of 35. Ignore this for now because it's incorrect because I don't have the engine in it. There's 2 things that I must do though. I must add upgrades to my mech. Heat sinks. I want to go double heat sinks because this improves the cooling of my mech, and I also always want to use endo steel because this vastly lowers the weight of my mech. But when I do that, pay attention to these empty slots here in the video because you'll see what happens when I click on endo steel. There we go. Now we've got all these dynamic structure slots. The problem with those is now I've lost quite a few free slots here if you see it. If I go to standard, I have 29 slots. If I go to endo steel, I only have 15 slots. That's okay though because it saved me quite a bit in weight. Now what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to add some armor. So I'm going to start out with the stock armor. That's giving me 10.94 free. Now what I can do by gotta add me some Streak SRM ammo here. Now I don't have an engine in this yet, so it's extremely important that I don't go so high that I can't put my engine in here. So I'm just going to stick with the stock armor, and if you see right here, stock armor is also max armor. That's just not going to work. That's just way too heavy. So since my legs are rarely hit, I'm going to lower my armor in my legs to about 36 or so, which is plenty because I'm trying to get the weight up top as high as I can get it, and then I'll add the engine and then put my armor back up if I can. So now I'm going to come over here and I'm looking for XL engine or standard engine. Now an XL engine going into a mech is rarely a good idea unless you're up on weight class issues, because if you'll look, I can't even fit it in because I don't have the free slots in order to do it. Okay? Oops. There we go. Now you see what's happened with the XL engine. Unlike a standard engine, the XL engine now bleeds over into my torsos. So that means instead of just worrying about this being shot out and destroyed to destroy my engine, now I have to worry about both of my shoulders, that shoulder and that shoulder. If either one of those gets destroyed, I've lost my engine, my mech is now dead. Okay? Not a good thing. Now I noticed that I can only put an XL 245 engine in here, and that's not very good. I don't want that. I would prefer not to have an XL engine completely. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to play with these numbers here in order to get this to be something a little better. So first thing I'm going to do for me is I'm going to take out this and this. I'm going to take out my anti-missile system. That's giving me an extra 2.94 that I can use for weight. And you'll see here, now all of a sudden I can put in an XL255 engine. Gives me much better cooling, gives me much better speed, plus I've got plenty of weight left that I can throw in back into armor if I chose and have much higher armor. It'd be about 400 when I'm done. Okay, now my mech is pretty much set up the way I like it. The only problem is I would rather not have this XL255 engine here. The problem is it's so light compared to the other ones that if I was to get rid of this XL255 here and bring up a standard engine, if you look down here, the XL255 is only 12.5 tons. If I go to the standard engine to get the same 12.5 tons, I can only use a 205, which vastly decreases my speed. See, I could put this here. Yes, I've gotten rid of the vulnerabilities up in my shoulders. I've got the exact same weight I had before, but I'm much, much, much slower. Not only that, but I have a heat sink penalty because I don't have enough heat sinks to cover this engine. So I'm going to have to stick with the XL255, it looks like, and come down here and get my XL255 back. And you'll see that my speed is 10 kilometers an hour faster. I have 2 extra heat sinks, which means my cooling is much, much better, which means I won't overheat nearly as much. And I've still got the 0.44 that I can put the weight back into my legs. So we'll put that back into here. I can go to 50, so I'm figuring about 42 or 43. There we go. So about 43 with one left over. 43. So now I'm at pretty close to being a perfect build. I've got 70 tons. I've got 4 free slots left. I've got a massive amount of armor. Now I could strip some of that armor to make it 69 tons, and then I could put one more thing in those extra 4 slots. But really, it's not worth it to me to lose that much armor, because to get a ton, I have to lose 32 armor, and that's just not worth it. Now, a big thing about the firepower over here, you're going to see this 35. 35 is the maximum damage all these weapons will do if they hit the target simultaneously. They will do 35 damage. The problem is it causes a lot of heat. What you want really is higher DPS. This is the amount of damage that you can do every second. A lot of these builds that you will see will have 69, 50, 40 damage for firepower, but they'll have a lower sustained DPS, which means they can fire a couple times and then they're up against their heat and they have to stop firing. Well, that allows me with my little 6.39 and 35 alpha to actually catch up and overtake them on the damage part. So now we're at 70 tons. There's nothing else we can add to this. Yes, we've got the 4 free slots, but we don't have the weight to do anything with it. Are we done yet? No. Because now we're going to want to tweak this out. If you look at this mech here, the armor is all over the place. See, if you see here on the left torso, it's only got 4 armor from the rear, 56 armor for the front. We don't want that. Now this is going to be a brawler. So what you're going to want to do is strip armor off of those to make sure they work right. So in order to get some armor on the back, I've got to lower the front because you only have so much armor you can play with. So I'll go to 44 here, which still gives me robust armor in the front while giving me good armor in the back here. Now actually this has already been updated. The stock is about 59 in the front and 30 in the rear. You don't want that. You want as much armor in here as you possibly can, especially with having the XL engine in here. Same with these right torsos. These are usually about 36 and this is about 24. By moving the armor to the front like this, I'm protecting that vital engine right there. But after all said and done, I've got a 37% cooling efficiency, which is outstanding. I've got 6.39 sustained DPS, which is great. Firepower is okay. The armor is excellent at 400 and I weigh 70 tons. Now you can click on Weapons Lab up here and it will show exactly what your weapons will do at certain ranges. Now you look at all these are your weapons here, and this is the amount you use them. Just keep them at 100%, just because it's too hard to figure out the other way. And you can see that my AC5s right here, which are the yellow line, do maximum damage up to about 700 meters. After that, it gradually starts to fall off until it ends up doing no damage just past 1600 meters, which is a long, long way. Down here is my medium lasers. I know my medium lasers stop doing damage at about 500 meters. And then obviously my SRM2 explodes at about 280 meters. So that helps me out there. Now, you're going to be gaining experience on these mechs, unlike the trial mechs. These right here are perks that you can pick up using experience on your mech, just like in War Thunder. It'll be increased accuracy for your guns, etc. Well, this is the cool mech skill, and you'll see when I click on it that the approximate time to overheat down here increases. That's because if you look, it increases the rate at which your cooling takes effect. Here's another one, heat containment. You'll notice that my maximum heat capacity has gone up to 55 and has further increased my time to overheat. What this means is I could spam all of these weapons for 17 seconds and before it overheats. Once you unlock Elite, it jumps up to 20 seconds. You're also getting more DPS. You see that the damage is increased to 7.42 damage per second. Anyways, guys, that's building your mech on paper. Now what you do is you set this on another screen or tab it out or what have you, and then use this as your roadmap to build your mech in the game. So what you want to do is go back in the game and build your mech. Alright, you're back in the game. You've just bought your mech. You can rename your mech, by the way. They'll let you do that. It's Iron Curtain for me, but that's only for you. Nobody else sees that. Once you've selected your mech, then you'll hit the loadout, and this is exactly the same as that website. If you click on the arm, it's everything that's installed in the arm, and you simply drag and drop however you want to put things. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to match exactly how you have it on that paper, and I guarantee you it will be exactly that way once you're done up here. Okay? Simple enough. Now this one, if you'll notice, has less armor standard. There's a reason for that, and it's because I changed one thing out on my mech over the other one, and I can't find it right away, but it's been changed. So you'll just have to fiddle around with it, but once you've built this exactly the same way, the head slot, the shoulder slot, the arm slots, drag and drop from over here, it will match exactly what you had on paper, and then you can save it and play it. Okay guys, to recap real quick, before you buy your first mech, you have to decide what weight class you want to play in, whether you want to be an assault, a heavy, a medium, or a light. Now, I don't recommend assault for your first mech because it's expensive to repair, so you won't make as much per match until you get good at it. So I would go with a heavy, which is a nice balance. Come down here, you're looking for the mech that not only suits you for playstyle and slots, but one that you like to look at because you're going to be stuck with this mech for a while. See, they all look slightly different, and they all have different hard points down here. See this one? See how they all change? Now that's important to do, so you need to figure out which you like using the most. Do you like energy weapons, in which case I might buy this cataphract? Or do I like ballistic weapons, in which case I'll buy this cataphract, because it's got more missile slot or more ballistic hard slots. Those are the things you need to figure out. Once you're done with that, go to the website I gave you, and then that will allow you to build this mech. There's another very important resource to go to on these builds. That resource is this website. It's called Mech Specs, and what this is people's builds that they have used in the game that get rated by how effective and how good they are. On the home page, you'll see they have a listing for every mech in the game, and it goes by lights, mediums, heavies, and assaults. You come up over here to say heavy mechs and a cataphract, and I want to see what the best build is for a KTFO. Click on that, and then right here, these are all the 5-star rated builds, and I can click on rating and sort it. So these are the 5-star rated builds. What that'll bring up is your mech, and it'll show you just a brief overview. Cooling efficiency 71%, your DPS, your armor values, and your firepower, etc. If you like this mech and you choose to buy it, then you're going to want to hit view full loadout, and it pops up, and there you go. You can just use this to build your mech. See, here's the summary screen. Go up here, click view full loadout, and it pops up, and you can just build your mech to this guy's specs, and you know it'll cost you to buy the mech, all the upgrades, all the weapons will cost you 10 million. So, hope you guys find this useful. As always, I'm in TeamSpeak if you guys need any more help. Later on, I can go over some other stuff if you guys want me to. Good luck.